For once in my life, I just want to jump right into Bimmy news. Straight in. There was a piece of content that came out. James Rolfe, Scott the Woz, and Justy, sitting quarter profile / profile to camera, all staring at IMAX, reminiscing about rental reviews that never aired.
This conversation we had sort of went away into the Cinemassacre vault. No one has ever seen this footage before. And now that all this time has passed, we're going to reflect and see if our opinions still hold up.
It was about streaming or physical. And, like it was a fine generic conversation, and it featured Scott. And so it was 7 years later. And so they're kind of like doing like a retrospective, like, has any of this changed? Or that's all fine. I think makes good sense for a show. But there's just a few things about it that kind of make it feel almost like 2021 again. For one thing, Justin is prominently featured in a video again, which is crazy.
Well, he's looking good. Lost 50 pounds.
The industry was, and still is, really bloated. Kind of like I was back in 2019 when we filmed. I've lost about 50 pounds since then. Figured I'd make a comment about that since everyone's going to bring it up because it's YouTube.
On the other hand, the other way to go with it is just be 50 pounds lighter and let everybody notice, because it'll be mostly positive. But here's the thing that's really strange about this video that I just feel the need to comment on. I think maybe they didn't use Riverside, or they didn't use sort of like a video conference type recording system. There's like latency problems with like a typical Zoom, and maybe they all decided, let's just record locally and then we'll kind of mix them all. We'll edit them later. But when you do that, inevitably you end up with strange latency problems, and you end up having to like overly edit it.
We all kind of foresaw the collapse and the consolidation we're seeing now.
My complaint about DVDs, and especially Blu-rays, was all the unskippable ads before the movie.
Yeah, there was a few things that's strange about it. Yeah, the quarter profile, and then they would look into the camera every once in a while. It was just a little odd where, I would be like listening, and I would look over at the screen, and then suddenly Bimmy would turn his head and look at me. I'm like, oh, like he noticed me.
James, hello.
And then there was a section during the 7 years footage where Scott's audio is like doubled on top of itself.
Yeah, there's a big editing fuck up.
Why?
I think
just like you're limiting the amount of market.
Why? It's just like you're limiting the amount of market that show can get. Like when you do make a deal with Netflix, because that's going to get a lot more attention. Why not like make a deal with Netflix, because that's going to get a lot more.
From this recording, it's still there because I watched it today.
Well, they're not going to take it down after it gets X number of views, and it remains one of those very annoying things about YouTube. You have no recourse if there's a mess up in your video. You can't maintain any of the metadata. You have to take the whole thing down and put the whole thing up and disrupt your whole audience. It's pretty ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, I sympathize with that a lot because I use Vimeo for work. If you can just flip that video as many times as you want, you notice a screw up, you just upload a new version, a new version. It's great.
Obviously, YouTube is capable of this technology. There must be some reason. They're like, no, we want to maintain like a full record of what the video was at one point in time or something. But even though they have kind of like these re-edit features where you can like swap out music.
My guess is they don't want a bait and switch where the video is one thing, it gets like 1 million views or something, and then you switch it with another thing. Vimeo is like small potatoes, like your 30 viewed video gets switched out, nobody cares. But a lot of YouTube, the extreme high performers of YouTube, that's you get millions of views, tens of millions of views, and they probably don't want people bait and switching.
Yeah, I spoke to Justin briefly. He was like, well, you're going to have a lot of fun with this upcoming video. I was like, not really. I mean, it was mostly I thought like just kind of generic Cinemassacre fare, but I think he meant in as much as there's, a slob has returned. Somehow a slob has returned. And my thing is like, hey, Justin, all the slobs could return and it would be huge. Literally and figuratively. The thing that everybody always critiqued was you never introduced these people in the first place. Well, we know them very well now. They have been thoroughly established. I would love nothing more. Don't you think it would get a huge pop if it was like, come on out, Kieran, come on out?
I mean, it's been like 5 years, so it's almost nostalgic, I
think that when it comes to YouTube in general, or really any kind of entertainment, familiarity is such a currency. People really don't like what they're not familiar with, and they really, really like what they're familiar with. And I feel like in wrestling, they do this all the time, where there could be a wrestler who really didn't go over for a while, and then he goes away, and when he comes back, it gets a huge pop because like the nostalgia for the guy
And there should be a lot of fanfare when they come in.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how I feel about just one slob coming back, though. It feels like it'd be like a DX reunion without all of DX. You know, like they all have to be there. Yeah, it's like they're flirting with the past. Gonna take you back to 2021 to plagiarize anyone.
My apologies, even though I'm not the one who did it.
Yeah. Okay. So there was that, and of course Scott Lawaz was in there. Scott Lawaz, who I'm told watches everything. I know he watches this show. And he did a room tour. Did you check this thing out at all?
Yeah, I watched it, yeah.
It seems like he's got a cool setup there. It's sort of like Scott the Waz Enterprises in his basement. He's all Pottery Barn. You can tell something about a man based on the furniture he buys.
Earlier this year, I actually upgraded the TV stand to this one from Pottery Barn. And Pottery Barn stuff is stupid expensive, but hey, at least from my experience, it's all been like really high quality stuff.
But he's got these sturdy workbench tables. And he was like, the reason I bought these kind of like long workbenches was so I could load up all the guys and train them all on Scott the Waz editing in kind of like an intensive way.
I've bought a couple of these workbenches and they are just so unbelievably sturdy. And I think my big thing was, this was around the time I was training all of the guys to edit for Scott Stash. So I kind of wanted to figure out what is the best option here to get a bunch of desks, sturdy desks that could house a bunch of computers, a bunch of guys.
I thought that's kind of interesting because from my perspective, like sitting arm to arm with anybody or sitting like at a long bench editing video with headphones on, like not my bag. I wouldn't want to do it on site at Scott's basement.
Yeah, I know. He did mention it's like, we got office space. It's kind of weird when they just like, go and working in my basement. Yeah.
Eventually it got to a point that there was less and less of a reason for everybody to bring their computer over to my basement every week to do like a communal editing session. That's what we did like every week for like a year and a half.
You know, when it comes to video editing, to me, that's like a late at night kind of thing, sitting in your own comfortable space. Like, I'm like, of all the things to do remote work with, like video editing seems like very appropriate.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking, so I was like, well, I've had to train some slobs, and how have I done it? Well, they all start with some editing ability normally, and then it just becomes more about getting the vibe of the show and what's the edit for a typical show. And what I've found is I've done it now like 12 or 13 times where I've onboarded a new slob. So I have a big sort of standards and guidelines doc. They say, hey, I'm interested in being a slob. It's ridiculous. And then I say, read through this, make sure it all makes sense. And that's when we bump into stuff like, oh, Premiere, I'm a Vegas person or whatever. Just sort all that out. And then let them take a clip when it's time to sign up for a clip. And normally it's like, take a lower stakes one that we can afford to give you a little extra time with. And then almost, I would say probably like 60-70% of the time, 60-70, the edit comes back like, yeah, maybe like 60% good, like not quite there. You know, even though they've watched the show for years, like they never had to touch it and touch it up. And so there's, all kinds of like tightness problems with it.
A lot of people are listening to it too.
Right,
so they're
true.
probably not being super attentive to like all the details of an edit.
So I go minute by minute and I give exhaustive notes like, this I would do differently. This I would do differently. This, and I describe why, what would have motivated a change. This I didn't find funny. This I found really funny. This was really good. Do more of that. It takes like an hour or something. And then most of the time it takes like 2 or 3 hours to touch the thing up and get it in good shape. So then I deliver the notes and I deliver what I consider to be a final version of the edit. And that seems to be really instructive because then they're reading the notes and they're going, oh, I get it now. I missed that edit. Now I see what I missed. Now I see the opportunities. Because they, especially if they're a first timer, they probably spent a lot of time with it, even though it was incomplete. And so they're intimate with the decisions that they made. And then for that reason, they're sensitive to the changes I made. And what I've found, this has happened like at least half the time. The second clip, they're spot on. It's like exactly where they need to be.
I was like, oh, those husky benches look pretty nice. It's like, this is not a man who's stuffing pieces of wood in a IKEA shelf, that's for sure. But
Scott the Waz, I bet you makes a nice little buck out of this whole thing.
No, that was a nice space.
Buy your Pottery Barn while the sun is shining, I guess. All right, so then there's a third piece of Bimmy news. Not expressly related to James himself, but a video was made by a YouTube channel called Kicked from Server. The guy's name is Kevin Savo, and he's a new villain in the Rogues Gallery of Red Cow villains.
Yes, we have an image of that too.
Yes, our Rogues Gallery. I've coined the term Gymmy, which doesn't play on a podcast because it has to be spelled Gym. M-Y, Gymmy.
Yes, because he's a very swole individual, obviously a gym rat.
Oh, a game.
Yeah, the title is Bullying James Rolfe, a New Low for Internet Gamers. So the implication is that Lady Emily and Josh, these are all like gamers.
We're all gamers.
I have played video games. I'm not sure like I do actually fit the... To me, like if you're actually a gamer, that means there's a committed video game time where you're beating entire games and stuff. It's like, that's not really me.
I'm under the impression that's all you do, Frankie.
Well, this entire Jimmy's entire premise, it's so deeply flawed, and that's really why I want to talk about it. Is his entire approach to the Cinemassacre commentary community? It's a house of lies.
It's so timely too. 5 years like after all the like biggest stuff happened.
Jason was like, why are you even talking about this? This is an ice cold take. This is like 101. A guy just heard of Cinemassacre Truth for the first time. And it's just like the first impression that somebody would have as an outsider. So I'm going to do a play-by-play. I'm going to go minute by minute with my man, Kevin, with Gymmy. Because he, of course, does take swipes directly at yours truly. And I want to address some of them. So the video starts off with the cringiest use of AI I've seen to date. It's an AI version of him, all swole, walking in with a big white tank top. Bimmy is on the futon like he's totally bereft. Something has happened to him. Red Cow made a joke. I don't know. And
something of the asshole variety.
Complaints of the asshole-ish variety.
Something of the asshole-ish variety has happened in the past hour. That's the image it's set up. And you see the top of his head, which is filled with hair. So that's how you know that AI is not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, he has a polo shirt and not like the nerd shirt. It does have no rhinestones on that at all.
And then this guy embraces him. And then we go into the video, and then there's like a narration of the Green Goblin being like, you entertained them for a while, but nobody loves it more than when a hero falls.
They found you amusing for a while. But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail. In spite of everything you've done for them, they will hate you.
And then we go straight to Kevin's computer desk, and he starts talking his trash. You remember the no time compilations? It's James one after another saying that he has no time, including the 540 incident.
First of all, I don't have time. Honestly, I just don't have the time. Time sucks. There doesn't exist enough time in the year. Well, anyway, that's it. We just ran out of time because I have to be done at 5:40 right now.
And I've used that compilation in some of my videos when I myself said I have no time, and I was adding James in there too just to make fun of myself a little bit. And as a dad with 2 kids under 5, I just don't have any time.
First of all, I don't have time.
They're fun. It's funny. It's a funny tick. You see it. Once you notice it, you can't not see it.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, he does say that a lot.
I don't think I have time. I don't know when I'm going to get time. There wasn't really time to do it. I don't have that kind of time. There's not really enough time. We ran out of time. I don't think there's enough time. I can't afford to sacrifice the amount of time it takes to make an entire movie from start to finish.
And he's watching the video so stoically, like he's like reading, I don't know, some bad news or something.
Yeah, like, the planes just hit the towers.
What happened?
Well, I was in the PATH train, and there was a huge explosion sound. Everyone came out. A large section of the building is blown out.
Totally fucking humorless. Like, where is your sense of humor, my friend?
6 in the morning, exactly 6 in the morning, and I've only fought the final boss.
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this. Time is the productive man's enemy.
Must I say it again? I do not dislike James. Cinemassacre is a thing I've been a fan of for 20 years. So much like Marvel and Kevin Smith, the things that we talk about on this podcast, like it's like a reoccurring thing. We talk about Channel Awesome as well. Strangely, not as much. You don't catch any shit for talking. You can talk about Channel Awesome every single episode. Nobody would care.
All day, every day. You could talk about Linkara's big deuces and nobody will care.
Do Doug Walker yelling.
and you've always had a good sense of humor about
It's just like when I really scream loud. I mean, it really does sound like that.
From my perspective, there really are no villains in the Cinemassacre story. Not even like Big Ryan. Like, I don't think he's like a villain. I don't think we've ever, outside of like some ribbing, I don't think we've ever like gone after one of them, you know? Channel Awesome, like, I think Linkara is a villain. I think that I think Lindsay Ellis is a villain. But are you really meaning to tell me that we're not allowed to laugh during a year of time where there's like rampant plagiarism and we're taping lights to the ceiling and all the rest of it? I mean, we can have a little bit of a larf, can we not?
What is this? Some kind of anti-gravity experiment?
And a lot of it is just puzzlement. Like, Mike Matei left rapidly.
Unfortunately, James and Mike Mondays will not be returning. Mike and I talked about it, and he'll be leaving the channel to focus full-time on his streaming. Wish him the best of luck on that.
There was a lot of, questions, and we were trying to puzzle them out.
As the story goes, we had no idea that anybody would be watching our podcast whatsoever. We were just talking about things that interested us. So anyway, he starts sucking his own dick for, basically the rest of the video, talking about what an effective, hyper-productive person he is. And he completely understands where James is coming from. He also has no time.
I mean, I've never been able to grasp who finds the time in the day to play 9 hours worth of fucking Call of Duty. I assumed it was children, but apparently it's many grown men.
Filming some of the games took many hours, and James had less time because now he has kids to take care of. Okay. We've covered that topic.
Okay. Yeah. No comment.
I dare say that's the primary reason.
Oh, he doesn't have time. The man just can't seem to find the time.
He takes out a Sharpie. He's like, all right, let's do this then, guys. You fucking
do the
virgins.
math.
All right, let's put this in perspective and take me, a guy with no wife and no kids. There's 24 hours in a day. I average 5 hours of sleep a night because I have too much going on to get a full night's sleep most days. I work a 10-hour shift at the job. We're left with 9 hours. It takes me 45 minutes to an hour to cook my food for the day. We're down to 8. I try to hit the gym every day.
So if I'm 10 hours at the job, then I got to scoot over to my DP. I got to DP the girlfriend for 3 hours, and then I got to shoot and I got to do post production. He literally says, he goes, spend an hour with my girlfriend before I go to bed. If I want to have sex, that's another hour out of my life.
Then I won't be out. I'll only have 3 hours of sleep.
Though I do have a lady in my life, and guess the fuck what? If I'm not strict about the time I spend with her, I spend an hour with her after work if I come home and she's here, just talking about our day, spending a little time together. Now I get 4 hours of sleep instead of 5. If we want to have sex before I go to sleep, now I get 3 hours of sleep instead of 4.
Because I'm going to have to take some time to do a little bit of lovemaking if I'm willing.
This is why none of you get laid. Mm-hmm. You are the same motherfuckers that I have to make YouTube videos for, giving you advice on how to develop enough confidence to make friends and just talk to girls, let alone have sex with them. Yet, one more time with the keyboard, you'll be like, hey man, fuck you, this shit is trash. How do I know? Because I'm the leading authority on everything. And then a woman walks by and you're like, oh. Where'd the bad motherfucker behind the keyboard go? You can't even get yourself some ass? I have to help you with that?
I'm not a big fan of this toxic masculinity concept. This dude, there's toxic masculinity going on here. What the fuck is all this?
Yeah, it comes across as deeply insecure. It feels like when Milhouse's dad, he's bragging about his race car bed, and I'm Homer Simpson being like, I just sleep in a big bed with my wife.
I sleep in a racing car. Do you?
I sleep in a big bed with my wife.
Oh.
I think he sees a basement here. And he goes, must be like a mom's basement.
A lot of grown men live in their mother's basement. A lot of men have the luxury to waste hours of their life on video games. So with no sex life, no job, no priorities, and hours to waste on video games without it having a negative consequence on your week and productivity, I can see why many don't relate to James Rolfe's dilemma of not having enough time to rapidly produce the same content he was making at 26.
I mean, these are virgins who do nothing but play Call of Duty for 9 hours, unlike me, who would not do that. I'm like, wait a minute.
Talk about perpetuating the stereotype that gamers are lazy, unproductive, sexless losers.
These childless, familyless fucking losers. And he keeps he's putting up photos of us. Like, I wonder who fits that criteria.
New studies suggest men are more sexless than ever before, reporting that 30 to 35% of men claim they haven't had sex in the past year. I think I have an idea of who fits into that statistic.
Have a family. Been married for 15 years, actually. You've been married for 15 years?
Yeah, it'll be 16 this year.
But he's also like, now I personally, no disrespect to anybody who would get married, I personally wouldn't get married. I wouldn't have children.
I mean, listen, I chose not to have a wife or kids so I could pursue this full time because there's no time even without a wife and kids.
I'm like, oh, well, that sounds like a pussy move to me. I'm too busy making schlock for Tubi for a wife and family. Oh, it sounds like glorious purpose, Loki.
I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Too busy burning all of my funds making these Tubi videos.
Yeah, so he's like, and he must have said it 5 fucking times. He's like, I've made 3 feature films before the age of 30.
Today, I've made 3 features before 30. As a filmmaker who made 3 features with no resources before 30 years old, financially ruined my life 3 times over to make 3 feature films before 30.
And I ruined myself financially all 3 times. I'm like, oh, so then you're a retard. I don't know why you would...
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this.
I made 4 features before I was 30, and I didn't ruin myself financially any one of the times, actually, because you shouldn't have to ruin yourself financially to make a movie. Not on digital, not when you can shoot on location, not when you can do things effectively. And there's this whole thing, well, we don't sleep.
On my last film, we did not sleep. Nobody slept.
And when I hire somebody on my set, what I say is there's no I am.
I have a saying when I'm working on set, and I tell everybody that works for me, we don't do this I am. You will not see me walking around, I am a filmmaker. I am a director.
What is all this? This ego, I mean, the ego it's excessive.
Go on. I'll open the door for you. Save us all a bit of time, yeah? If you don't think you can cut it.
But he's a young man. He's 30. I'm a 40-year-old man in a cowboy hat who's never had sex, despite... I was showing Nina the video. She was getting a real kick out of it. And who should walk in but my 8-year-old? And she's like, what's going on? And I'm like, this guy made fun of me on the internet. And she's like, did he make fun of me? I wish somebody would talk about me. I was like, he thinks you don't exist. You know how I have video of you and John watching the BTS? I have a little bit of video of Gloria watching this dude. He's dishonoring your father.
Hey, I've been looking for someone to, mention my family. But then again, you're an idiot.
So there's obviously, he's got this thing about like your value is derived and measured based on how many hoes you with.
And just talk to girls, let alone have sex with them.
We want to have sex before I go to sleep. Gamers don't like me because I get laid.
How can you play Slack Hooper and do all this video game shit and get laid? Because I'm not spending all my time talking shit.
The helpless, sad, fucking gaming community that has so many problems and we can't get laid. We're afraid of girls. We're afraid of opportunity.
His sexual value is obviously a big part of his life.
But he brings up the Bible at some point. He's shows a JPEG of a Bible.
Let me teach you about stuff that's spiritual.
Because an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. And for more on those themes, instead of redirecting you to the Bible in true nerd fashion, I'd say if you're not into the Bible, Revenge of the Sith will do just fine. Even as a man of God myself, I prefer Revenge of the Sith for my biblical lessons.
See, if you keep making fun of James Rolfe, you're eventually going to kill younglings.
The devil validates humanity's worst traits, and before you know it, you're killing younglings.
What?
Also a man of faith, EJ. And not casually either. By the way, we're pretty into our faith.
Oh yeah, it's Lent. I did fast yesterday and doing the rosary. Yeah, we're into it.
I'm heavily involved in my church, but I don't remember ever having a conversation where it's like, let's all just remember that anybody here who's a virgin is worthless, as the good book says.
As the book says, Revenge of the Sith.
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this.
And of course, because he's 30, right? So that means he was born in 1996. I guess Revenge of the Sith would have been Scorsese level for somebody that age, maybe. But look, I'm not making any friends with this comment. Revenge of the Sith sucks. The Bible's way better. So he's doing his napkin math. He's figuring out how to fit everything in, his meal prep and his gym time. and his sex with his non-wife.
If we want to have sex before I go to sleep, now I get 3 hours of sleep.
And he's talking about like when he's on his set, we tell everybody, we say, don't fuck with our time. Don't fuck with our time, because our time is precious. Our time is valuable.
The number one thing I stress to the entire crew when we're working is do not fuck with our time and respect our time, because my DP has not slept in 3 days, and my co-director and his wife, who's also a producer, left 2 small children at home that they're sacrificing spending time with to be here.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine on one of our sets being like, hey, everybody, it's me, Frankie. First of all, did everybody work out this morning? Second of all, don't fuck with my time.
I only got 5 hours, maybe 3 hours of sleep.
Unfortunately, the girlfriend wanted to make love, which I did allow her to do. So I'm groggy.
What the fuck are we talking about? Where's the time?
Even all of that aside, James Rolfe does not have to do meal prep. I doubt he has to fuck his wife in this obligatory way that you've set up, Kevin.
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this.
And okay, this is one of the strangest things that's in this video. Is he's going like, and here's the thing, guys. Mrs. Rolfe, she got a body. Yeah, she got a body. You know, I say this respectfully, of course. Super respectfully. Yeah, she got a body.
James was probably happier than a pig in shit when he met his woman. Look at his woman. She's fucking beautiful. This is the angry video game nerd. And he pulled this. And very, very respectfully, I would try to be very respectful when I say this, but Mrs. Nerd got a body on her. Yeah, Mrs. Nerd got a body on her.
What?
I'm like, what are you talking? Why are you talking this way?
And he shows a picture of them, and it's like it's a silly photo because like, you know, James Rolfe's doing the goofy smile and she's doing like the stoic like face. I think it's supposed to be silly, but it's the weirdest picture to be like she's got a body.
That's the thing. I think getting 4 hours of sleep a night is just plain stupid. Like, I don't think it's anything to be proud of.
I am on 4 hours sleep right now because of everything I had to do this week. 4 hours of sleep every night this week, so I didn't even get my usual 5.
Part of being mature is figuring out where the priorities are. And, you know, you can go back to the short shorts video. It's all there. But we never said, hey, James, we need to see high quantity. We want to see nonstop videos. Where's the videos, James? It was never our position. It's never going to be our position.
What are we criticizing the man for? Because he doesn't have all the time in the world to produce 20 videos a fucking month? The Monster Madness shit, that's 30 videos, or traditionally always was 30 videos, one for every day of the month. 31, actually, because we're talking about October. And we're laughing at him for not having enough time to consistently do that when he's done it for almost 20 years.
He said that, look, if I had to do it all by myself, then you'd only get like 3 videos a year. Well, that's kind of what people are asking for. They're like, slow it down, make it on your own schedule, do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's like JonTron, really, you know? Like JonTron makes much less content, but you can tell every single one he wanted to make, you know?
You should have more time than anyone to make us happy with the fucking game reviews. 15 years wasn't enough. 18 years wasn't enough. We need 35 consecutive years of nothing but your time dedicated to making us happy.
And you think a guy earns that after 15 years or something? It's not, but you're going to lose some audience in the process, and that's fine.
Let's say 12 to 15 of those years, he never skipped a fucking beat. And then he wanted to be a regular 45-year-old husband and father and say, all my work provided this life where I get to have a family.
Well, look, if you get rich off of something and you have your run, you've done your 15 years or whatever, and you got rich doing it, I think you get to be like, you know what? Like, you can hang it up. You're allowed to hang it up and be like, I've decided that I've made money in my life and I want to spend time with my kids now. Because he said at one point, he's like, I don't want to spend time away from my kids when making stupid, epic videos for the internet. Our position was always, oh, isn't that interesting? James seems to have fallen out of love with this whole thing, but he feels obligated to keep it going. And so it's on life support. That was what was interesting about it. And our diagnosis at the time was, why don't you just be transparent about the situation? And why don't you just ramp down the productivity. You could do 1 or 2 a year, something you really care about. And I think not all of it's my cup of tea, but I think in 2025, he's kind of getting there with the Frankenstein stuff.
I think he got some criticism and he changed course, and I think it's mostly worked out for him. When you're doing anything, we put stuff up all the time. People give us criticism. We sometimes take the criticism to heart, and that's just what you do when you're a creator putting things out.
Yeah. I was told I'm not having enough sex, and so I told Nina I'm taking this criticism seriously. And it was something that kind of interested me about the whole enterprise. It was like, using him as a sample case, like when's enough? When do you get to make your last video, or when do you get to ramp it down? And we followed a lot of other YouTubers, Matt Pat and Gaming Historian, and all these people who are trying to wind down. It's an interesting thing because, as James and Mike once pointed out, it's not commercial television where you get canceled or you get renewed. It's entirely up to you whether or not you want to continue,
and whether your audience is going to go along with you.
All television shows take breaks.
He talks about 5:40, and that April was reasonable so he's buying into the premise that April insisted that he run upstairs at 5:40, which I'm not even sure that that's factual. Actually,
his wife expects him home by 5:40 p.m. Yeah, okay, let's stop it there. Listen, I'm all for the alpha male shit. The man is the leader in the relationship. But how do you think James Rolfe handles a situation like his wife being like, we need to talk?
He's making up his own fiction. He's writing dialogue for April, and he's like...
You're playing Nintendo in the basement, shitting on SNES cartridges the same way you did when you were 26 years old, and shit's got to change. Because I'm not happy. I'm not saying that specific situation took place. How do you think a man like James Rolfe would handle that type of pressure from his woman?
He's like, well, think about it. I mean, if April says hey, dude, you can't be downstairs. We have 2 kids now. You can't be downstairs making fun of no SNES games anymore. You got to come up. And that's his woman saying that he's got to come up. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Making fun of the SNES games is what pays for the McMansion. I mean, that's the...
Yeah, the phenomenon of producing long iceberg videos that detail the rise and fall of internet content creators used to be appealing for the fact that it was usually calling out somebody who had serious dirt worth exposing.
And I think one of the things that permeates through Kevin's video, I don't know a whole lot about him, did a little bit of research. I think he used to have a YouTube career when he was much younger, when he was a teenager. And he said that there was another video where he was like, my phone got hacked. Somebody made an iceberg video about me that I asked them to take it down. And
this all culminated in my channel being deleted as YouTube's algorithms updated and their tolerance for copyrighted content changed. I was targeted by trolls, even encountered some extreme situations where I was hacked, my phones were tapped, social media was surveilled. While today I'm happy to no longer be a weird video game kid who lives his life on the internet, I still miss being a YouTube content creator.
Part of the reason I say this is because I've had a long iceberg hit piece video made about myself, and when I called the YouTuber who made it personally and asked him to please take it down, he said, but this took me 6 months to make.
I think he's carrying his own trauma about something that happened online, and he's applying that to James.
Which is kind of funny that he then singles out Dan Olsen, because Dan Olsen kind of projects himself onto James as well.
Yeah, he too has a kinship with James Rolfe.
And feel a certain kinship with James Rolfe. Like this guy. Oh, this is going to be a real eloquent piece of shit talk.
Yeah, he decided against wife and kids because he wants to make the schlock, which, beta.
I mean, listen, I chose not to have a wife or kids so I could pursue this full time. Beta!
I noticed this guy has been on that Jesse Lee Peterson show 1,000 times. So he's obviously very in that world. And also, this is very important. For me, one of the key things that I found so interesting about this whole thing was workflows. So we all have the same hour, but everybody uses that hour differently. And James demonstrated to the world that he did not know how to use the hour effectively. And so when he says, you wouldn't believe how long it took me to make the Rob the Robot video, it took me 200 hours. You're like, I see how. It shouldn't have taken 200 hours. So if you're more effective with your time, of course, then time might not terrorize you quite so much. Right. You might be able to, in a world of AI where information and workflows are very solvable, you can ask a question, hey, how do I improve this? There's less and less excuse for shitty workflows, but we all relate. I think we can all relate to that. Where you've settled into a shitty workflow and you're just not ready to leave it because this project takes urgency. is the whole important / urgent thing we've talked about. He was like, well, James pulled off this thing that nobody else ever pulls off, which is he was able to diversify his content away from just games and into Monster Madness and stuff. I was like, yeah, I've said that. One of the things I thought was really impressive about the way he grew was once he started showing who he was like, maybe I could do some non-angry video game nerd content. Maybe I could do, during the month of October, every day I'll do a horror review and it'll be Monster Madness. And, later down the line, Mike Matei was like, let's do a Let's Play show. And it'll be more edited than your average Let's Play show. Or we'll do Turtle Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, we'll do this deep dive on the original Ninja Turtles show or something like that. In fact, when he started to kind of ramp down and only do nerd, I was like, oh, well, that kind of takes a lot of the magic out of the channel. If like all you're doing is like the one kind of paycheck show. But again, I thought in 2025, he found a good balance where I think he slobs out the AVGN shows because the masses don't care anyway. And then he was able to dedicate time to the more kind of boutique projects, which I think that's a good model. He went after Dylan the Night Owl.
Now help me understand where the fuck a grown man finds the time to make a 5-hour-long hit piece on James Rolfe, making fun of a 45-year-old man for prioritizing spending time with his wife and 2 young daughters.
Dylan?
That sweet little cherry pie?
That homeschooled motherfucker? You're going to go after him? Did he make a 5-hour retrospective about AVGN? Yes. The problem is Gymmy thinks that it's a takedown video, and it's not. Do you remember that video? It's not a takedown video.
No.
It's a retrospective. Worthy of James. It's fucking 5 hours. He goes on and, maybe a bit too long, because it could be tightened in some places. If you remember, like at the end, he goes into a whole thing and he's like, James is super inspiring to me. And
maybe one day I'll make something that inspires someone the way James did. And then that person will make something that will inspire someone else. I guess what I'm saying is, thank you. Thank you, James Rolfe, for being a part of my past and taking time on my computer to be the inspiration for this long-ass video and my hungry creative future.
And I agree, by the way. I'm like, this is the guy who paved the way. Nobody would ever talk about him to these kinds of lengths if they weren't a fan. Again, I'll liken it to wrestling a little bit, where wrestling fans sometimes get very critical of wrestling. And it's like, well, it's because they're huge fans,
Oh yeah, it's like, or if you ever spent any time in a comic book store, the nerds are arguing, but they love everything. Yeah. They love it.
And I also feel the need to point out that like James himself reviews pop culture on his channel, and many times over the years has disliked things and has talked about them at length with some degree of passion, whether they be video games or movies or whatever. There's like a strange kind of diatribe about like when you nerds feel the love of a woman for the first time, and she starts making ultimatums to you, like you need to put down whatever video games or something, that you'll all be quaking in your boots. You'll be shivering and begging her to come back. He just kind of like, he goes down some like crazy path.
All you nerds, when you feel the love of a woman for the first time, and she first expresses that she's not happy with motherfucking anything that you're doing, you're gonna fucking shiver. Like, oh, I don't want to lose my girl.
I don't know what it has to do. Like, I've tuned that part out because I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
The fuck are you talking about?
What do you think James Rolfe would do if his woman was like, okay, we've hit a fucking point here. The video games, the playthroughs, the bullshit, and our children are growing up in front of our eyes. You think James Rolfe is like, hey, listen, baby, I told you what it was going to be from day one. You raise the kids, you take care of the babies, you handle the family, and I make the bread.
He says, look, I can take it. You can make fun of me. I grew up around crack and hose.
I grew up around crack and heroin and hose turning tricks in the walk-in freezer. I can handle a bunch of nerds talking shit about me.
Like, okay. What's this got to do with James Rolfe?
What?
He goes, so you make fun of him, but why don't you make fun of me? Why don't you pick on somebody your own, so you're going to step to me.
I'm the dude that's neither the nerd or the jock. I'm just the dude that keeps to himself, but is now stepping to you and saying, pick on somebody your own size.
And then he cuts to a video of himself punching a punching bag. He's going to punch you out for making fun of James Rolfe.
His AI version's going to comfort him, put his hands on his shoulders.
And he's upset at bullies, but like he himself is acting like a 1980s bully. You know, this kind of cartoonish caricature. And there's this whole thing. He's like, nerds have become mean. Nerds have become the bullies. I sort of see the point. You know, yes, in as much as like power dynamics in a technological world have given more power to nerds than they once had. And so naturally anybody with power sometimes is exploitative with it. He attempts a spiritual argument about how if you critique someone, even a bad person, he says, you're destined to become bad yourself. So criticism is not allowed. So saith Jesus Christ and or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So even if you absorb yourself with passionate hate for people who are maybe provably wrong, provably mean, or provably evil, you're still destined to eventually become as wrong, mean, and evil as the people you hated for being wrong, mean, and evil in the first place.
When there's whole like departments about film criticism, is that not allowed? Is that the devil get into you if you're doing film criticism?
Yeah. So in the comments, he's talking about the devil. He said, well, you serve the devil. You worship Satan. So then he like kicks back and he's like, ugh. And suddenly it's like a new setup. There's like new lighting and he's smoking. So I guess in almost like a 1970s throwback, you know, where you can be like really in shape, but also be smoking.
Like Levi.
And he's like, sorry, you know, it's taken me a long time to do this because once again, I had 10 hours at the job.
It's 9 o'clock at night now, by the way. I started at 10 in the morning. That's how much time it takes to put together something like this.
I had to bang my girlfriend for a good hour.
I had to commute 1 hour to the gym, there and back.
Gym time plus commute back and forth to the gym.
I had to go throw the ring in the volcano. I had to be coronated king.
I only got 3 hours of sleep.
So that means 3 hours of sleep. Oh my God.
If we want to have sex before I go to sleep, now I get 3 hours of sleep.
He plops down and he starts making fun of Dan Olsen. He's like, oh, look at this sex god. Right off the bat, he's like, his issue with Dan Olsen is that Dan Olsen's not well laid enough.
Well, this dude seems like a real lady killer. I bet he gets more pussy than me or James.
Which is funny, you know, he's against bullying and he's immediately taking him down for his looks.
You can't even get yourself some ass? I have to help you with that? On the internet?
Mom's basement doesn't have sex.
Ugly man.
Ugly, stupid. AI image of me cuddling James Ralph. So he started making fun of Dan Olsen, and I'm like, you know what? For the first time in my life, Dan Olsen sounds pretty rad right about now. Savo probably doesn't know this, but we thought Dan was very pretentious and irritating and self-aggrandizing, and obviously thinks that shit doesn't stink.
Commentary of the assholish variety.
And I've caught a lot because we did this funny video where we parodied it and stuff, and I've caught a lot of shit for not understanding the point of that video. Apparently you understood the point, EJ, that it was a send up of himself in some, you know, heady way, and I kind of like rejected that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he tried to do. Whether it was effective or not is definitely up for debate.
Well, I think I conceded. Like, it seems like that's what he would like for us to believe the point of the video was, but I don't really like. I don't really get it. How about that? I don't get it. But he's making fun of Dan Olsen, and it's so funny because when Dan Olsen made fun of James, I was like, hey, wait a minute. You don't get to make fun of James.
Bespoke inefficiencies that you just live with, a bespoke inefficiency.
And then when Savo made fun of Dan Olsen, I was like, hey, wait a minute. These are all my guys.
My boys.
Broke my boy. I broke my boy.
So now Savo's one of my guys. And so if somebody then came along and made fun of him, I'd be like, hey, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Jimmy, not my Jimmy.
Not poor Jimmy.
But not our Jimmy. Couldn't be precious Jimmy.
It happened with Kickassia, where you spend so much time with the project that it kind of grows on you. You know, it's like, again, it's like familiarity as a currency. Like once you become very familiar with something. And so it's very possible like that this Kevin guy is going to grow on. He may have already grown on me, actually, now that I think about it. Because I've spent a lot of time thinking about his video. I've spent the last 24 hours thinking about his video.
Maybe this is some insight into what's wrong with some of these nerds. He couldn't stop thinking about this behind the scenes video. Because I have a sex life.
So he's mocking Dan for being highfalutin and stuff. You know, fair enough. Yeah, like Dan is super pretentious. What am I going to do? Defend Dan? I can't do it.
Jerk yourself off with how excellent your vocabulary is and your rather eloquent slander of someone like James Rolfe.
He seems to shit on film school just in general. I think he's got like a chip on his shoulder about people who went to film school are rich. and I'm not rich.
I didn't go to film school. I opted for broadcasting school because it was more affordable. I learned what I needed to learn, and I started immediately funding my own feature.
Well, I'm like, yes, we went to film school. I'm here to tell you I'm not wealthy. My dad was a hydraulics mechanic and my mom was a school nurse, but they were cool. My parents were super. One thing I was rich with was support from my parents. They were like, we want to make this work. We want to help you pursue this filmmaking thing, which was amazing.
Yeah, it's just I have a job. I work hard at it. I do video production.
You went into engineering for your bachelor's, and then you went to Emerson for your master's.
It's about the pressures of an artist to just get a job and be a part of the 9-to-5 machine. That's the demographic we're reaching for, and it's very hot right now.
You went to like a lot of college, didn't you?
And that was probably a huge financial risk.
It was a huge financial, and I much like Gymmy, I was burning money doing that. So,
I ruined myself.
Financially ruined my life.
But you know, I worked hard, and I've gotten many production jobs, and I feed a family.
It's good. It's good. It's good not to go into tremendous amounts of debt for anything, actually, if you can help it. And don't be making 3 feature films going into debt either. Make them for less money. Make them really good. Make them with volunteers. Make them for $2,000.
I've been in post-production for a couple of months on my latest feature, which is my most expensive, my first super real fucking budget. This cost so much damn money, it almost put me out of a house and home.
My second movie was funded by my wife. Funny enough, I may be a virgin, but she was going to nursing school and she was going for free. She got some scholarships and she was able to scrape together like $2,500. And she was like, I think I could put this towards the movie. And that's basically what we made Apo on, was Nina money. So that's why she has an executive producer role. But yeah, it's like nobody's getting bankrupt over $2,500. And back then it's like, if one guy had a camera and one guy had a boom mic and, you could go make a movie. You need to be impressing yourself with how much you're spending.
Yeah, and it's getting much, much, much easier to make a movie. Everything has a HD camera in it or 4K camera in some cases.
But the hard part about now is that there's really no market for movies. I mean, not for indie movies, not really.
No, they're money pits.
Yeah, you'd have to do it because you love it, because there's just not really an audience, sadly. But anyway, I agree that Dan Olsen's up his own ass with his film identity, but he lumps us in with this. He's like, and here's 2 other film school assholes.
Oh, here we got another group of filmmakers. All right, Red Cow, most popular video is them shitting on James Rolfe. Film school was put to good use.
I'm like, don't be lumping me in with Lindsay Ellis and Dan Olsen chortling to themselves about like how cool they are on a film set. So his big commentary about us was all of your most popular videos on your channel. And by the way, on this channel, I have two channels, but all your most popular videos on this channel are you shitting on James Rolfe. To which I reply, so what? Are we pretending that YouTube is a meritocracy all of a sudden? Do any of us honestly think the quality of a video is measured by the amount of views that it gets on this fucking platform? Is that what we're going to go with? Do we believe that if it gets a whole lot of views, it's a great video, and if it gets very few videos, it's a bad video? Is that what we're going with?
181,000 views for shitting on James. 4th most popular video, 156,000 views for shitting on James. And the list just goes on and on and on.
We make so many videos. And I guess the luxury we have is that we don't care if they're successful.
At the same time, a hobby that brings in $27,000 a year, that's a pretty fucking good hobby. For a hobby, I'd call that a success.
It's a great hobby. Yeah, a lot of people spend money on skiing equipment and ski lift tickets, and they don't get that money back. We get some money back, and then we give it to some editors, and it's great.
We are older than this guy. He's 30. We're 40. So he's a young man. We can provide him a little bit of ancient wisdom, because a lot of this hyper productivity thing, I had a little bit of that.
Yes, ideally, I like to be 24/7 productivity.
The nonstop grind, right? There's a certain urgency when you're young. But one of the things as you mature is that you're able to figure out ways to kind of amplify productivity. And so if you're able to connect with some collaborators who totally like what you're doing, and you can kind of start dividing the work and figuring out where do you want to place your attention and time. That was one of the things we found interesting about James, was he clearly was at that stage where it's time to farm it out a little bit. And his management was poor. And it was an interesting conversation piece because, just because you made some great videos about video games in 2006 doesn't mean you're a great manager, right? But he was at a crossroads in his life where he sort of had to be a good manager to steward this thing that he built. And because he wasn't able to, and he wasn't able to hand it off, then things got messy for a while.
And then remember we talked about Scott the Woz and how he did it, and we kind of compared it to that, and it was like, oh, well, this is how he effectively, one, informed his audience that, hey, we're getting some editors, or bringing them in, and they're going to be helping around here. He got some help.
You get help.
So it was just fun to see the contrast.
He starts scrolling through our stuff, and he's like, so let's see what their non-James stuff does. 3,000. 5,000, 4,000.
Let's look at some original content that has nothing to do with smearing Cinemassacre. I see 3,000 views, 4,000 views, 4.8 thousand views, 5.9 thousand views, 3.1 thousand views.
And he comes across the arcade 1-up one, and he goes, oh, 11,000. Hey, that's pretty much what you're worth. And I'm like, I actually have no idea what that's supposed to mean.
I don't know either.
Oh, good for you guys. Here's one with 11K. That's about what you're worth.
Because I think like 11,000 views on a video is pretty good. Like, I'm grateful for that 11,000 views. I'm grateful for 3,000.
That's like a little theater, you're playing to.
Like, to anybody who's like, you only get 5,000 views normally. I'm like, well, you'd fucking try getting 5,000 views on like every video for years and years and years. Like, I don't know, give it a try. This guy, apparently, he had some success. Something happened in his path. There's some kind of dark origin.
From around age 14 to I guess around the age of 17, 18, this was my life. I don't even have any screenshots to prove that I had a huge audience or that total view count, which showed that millions have seen my work.
Because he like alludes to it enough times where, yeah, there was an iceberg. He's talking about his phone got hacked and he was wiretapped. I think the mafia got involved with his YouTube channel when he was 15 in some way.
I was hacked. My phones were tapped. Social media was surveilled.
There's like another video where he's like, yeah, I'm just remembering like the good old days of YouTube when it was, and this is going to sound really queer, but it used to be really magic back then. He like hedges almost everything he says because he's like worried that the veneer of masculinity is going to somehow drop.
Goddamn, call me a fucking geek for saying this, but YouTube was a magical place in its early days.
I was watching, he was doing like a Spider-Man review, and he's like, I don't know why home is in each one of these. Seems kind of girly.
What's with the word home being in the subtitle of every one of these new Spider-Man movies? Spider-Man Homecoming? It just sounds doofy and feminine, because aren't girls more concerned with their high school homecoming dance?
Dude, you're the reason like Anita Sarkeesian exists. Thanks a lot.
This is why we got the Acolyte.
Yeah, you're why we have the Acolyte instead of Revenge of the Sith, which is biblically sound.
Killing younglings.
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this.
When you've been making content for 25 years, the James Rolfe commentary, yes, it's the most popular thing for a subset of our audience. There's another subset who really likes Boxmac and Junt's Cart. And there's another subset that's really interested in just the podcast generally. They don't miss an episode. We have like 1,000 patrons, right? There's another subset who like Lord of the Rings by George Lucas was their big thing. It was animation that I did on early YouTube that did really well. Or the features. Like some people are just like into the features. And so, I mean, like when you diversify and make a whole lot of content, like, when you talk about things that people are searching for on YouTube, it gets views. When you make stuff that like people don't recognize, it doesn't get views. It doesn't mean that one's bad and one's good. For us to be able to sleep at night, like the integrity of a channel is just like, did you talk about something that you cared about? Did you talk about something that you found interesting? Did you talk about something that you thought your audience would find interesting? Did you bring something new to it or something novel to it? Right? That's what we're here for.
And the reason why people found that original video is because they were searching, being like, what the heck is up with Cinemassacre? Because there was obviously an issue.
I think whatever channel he used to have, it was video game and movie commentary, which is interesting because he's taking a dump in the mouth of anybody who plays a whole lot of video games.
Those nerds.
Yeah, fucking nerds.
And for all you nerds, what kind of relationship do you think you're going to have? All you nerds.
I think he started out as kind of like a smallish nerd and I think something happened. I feel like there's like a psychological analysis to be done here. Whatever this iceberg video is, maybe that covers it. Because he also says it in this video. He's like, I mean, when I'm doing these videos, I tell the lady, stay away from me. He's like embarrassed to have her be anywhere near the content.
I don't let my women sit on the other side of the fucking camera while I'm doing this shit. I'm embarrassed by it. I'm like, yeah, this is my me time where like I talk about video games and shit.
I'm like, I'm super not, like my wife loves watching these clips. Like we always find time I show her the clips. She's been the producer of all my movies. She loves me and I love her.
Virgin.
Beta.
What a girl. Beta girl.
Gay.
This old channel, it sounds like it was movie and video game commentary, to which it's like, Oh yeah, like all you're known for is just talking about other movies. Like, of course I am, because on YouTube, people don't search for narrative fiction. They search for not like people talking about things that interest them. It's like it's the nature of the platform. It's like very immature to not realize this. He seems obsessed with success.
You've made feature films, that's excellent. You went to film school, that's excellent. You're skilled in film, that's excellent. What's the most publicized thing you have attached to your name and your company's name on the internet? It is hours upon hours of shitting on a more successful filmmaker than yourself.
And yet he thinks like the low success of his movies don't really matter. He's like, well, yeah, my movies haven't struck huge or anything, but I did them. He's like giving himself credit like the whole time.
I don't brag about this and the fact that I went on to make 3 features after that because none of them have gotten out of this world distribution. And when one of them does get out of this world distribution, I'll just be happy that it made it to an audience that wanted to see it.
But then he keeps moving the goalpost. If he had not found out that we also were filmmakers and that we have like a filmography, you know what he would say, right? He'd be like, fuck you, all you can do is talk about other filmmakers. You should be one yourself. And then you find out we are ones ourselves. And he's like, well, you're known for talking about another filmmaker. I'm like, so what? Well, you're known for whatever the hell this is.
AI consoling James Rolfe.
And then he points at me and he goes, this cat.
Now, this cat right here claims to have made 2 feature films. I've never heard of him.
He said that he made 2 feature films. No, Kev. 5. So 4 narratives and 1 feature-length documentary.
How many before you were 30?
4. These movies made, they won some awards. They won some film festivals. They won some distribution. Like they're, the one of them's about to get released on a boutique Blu-ray label. So it's cool. Like I made movies. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy making content. I've transitioned a lot of those skills into YouTube because YouTube is kind of where the audience is, So you sort of adapt to the media landscape, right? So one of the things you can do. I'd love to make another feature again. Yeah, he goes, this cat made 2 feature films. And he goes, and then I went to the Red Barn website.
But I looked at the Red Barn website. It features quite a few different feature-length movies that all seem to be animated movies.
He made a few movies, but they seem to all be animated. So he had a bad experience on my website where he took away all the wrong information. I'm going to have to fire my Ukrainian webmaster.
For the record, I don't think any of them are animated at all.
No. Nina was like, oh, he saw the poster for I Need to Lose 10 Pounds. And
yes.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
I made an animation for Till Death Do His Part, the beginning of the intro.
That's true. Yeah, we did a documentary about the high expense of weddings, and EJ did a really cool animation for it. Yeah, it's me and my wife talking about when we got married, which, of course, we're both still virgins. It would be a good time to point out EJ knocked up his wife for the 3rd time this year.
Yeah. For the past year, I've at least had 1 sex.
When my daughter came out, she was like, why did he said you haven't had sex? And I was like, right. And you're living proof. And you know what she said? She goes, well, he said this year. It's possible that I haven't felt the love of a woman.
When you feel the love of a woman for the first time.
He says that our number 1 priority is shitting on James. It's our number 1 priority. There's nothing else in my life more important.
Here we got a couple of guys who are filmmakers. What is their number 1 priority? Is it making films? Is it pursuing film? Or is it shitting on a more well-known filmmaker for hours at a time on the internet?
Not the job obligations that I have or my family or the plethora of other content we make. Number 1 priority. And the evidence of this is that a lot of people watch that particular content. That's the evidence that it's my priority, right? This tracks logically. And he says, this is a quote, these nerds enjoy this shit more than their own productivity that may benefit their own passions and their own stories. So he's a poet. He's a very articulate guy.
These nerds enjoy this shit more than their own productivity that may benefit their own passions and their own stories.
He says, it's not that the criticisms are invalid. It's the time and energy.
The reason I haven't touched on the criticisms and whether or not they seem valid or not is because many of them I would say are valid, but it's not the point. It's the time, energy, and manpower that all of these useless fucks have put into smearing another filmmaker.
Okay, well, we put no time or energy into it. Sometimes I have to watch a YouTube video on 1.5 speed before it happens.
Shit. I got to watch some meathead go on and on about me, about how little sex I've had. He goes, I think it's fine that James brought in Screenwave.
The fact that Screenwave came in and he hired them so he could try to free up some of his time so he could spend time with his wife and 2 young daughters, and Screenwave didn't do that fantastic of a job What do you want me to say? Business is business. Sometimes people make the wrong business decisions.
And then I'm like, well, I said so too. I said that back in the short shorts video that it's all good to hire.
He has not watched any of this stuff. He's watched 2 minutes of Dan Olsen. He has just looked at the time code of Dylan the Night Owl, and then he has watched probably one clip of ours, but didn't finish it.
And he went to the Red Barn website one time.
And he saw a couple animated movies.
Yeah, they look pretty good. He says it's lame to care about Screamwave because he has a sex life and a work life. That's actually what he said.
I don't care because I'm not fucking lame. Because I have a sex life and because I have a work life and because I have no work-life balance.
So if you have a sex life, Screenwave can't make it on your radar. He says he has no work-life balance, so he doesn't have time to listen to nerds. Well, I guess that bears out. He didn't take the time to listen to or watch any of this, but it didn't stop him from commenting on it.
I don't have time to listen to nerds smear people.
I ended up, of course, going to his comment section, and he replied to just about everything I had to say. And he kind of just retreats. He kind of just goes like, but you're a hater. And I'm like, what the fuck? And, and I'm going back and he's like, see, hater. Everything is like evidence of the premise he's already set up.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's like, and you work for the devil.
You really are a cruel, nasty person. Because Satan is your daddy.
It's like when you respond to somebody and they're like, oh, you're crashing out. And you're like, I'm not crashing out. What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, man, your cortisol levels are spiking.
And how about you mind your own business?
But the problem is, you see what you just did there is you spiked your cortisol.
Yeah, maybe he's one of these moggers, these guys, these looks maxing. Is that what the kids are calling it? He's doing meth for his cheekbones and stuff. Do you know what the fuck I'm talking about? I hope some
Not
of you
really. Not really.
It's a new thing for the youngins.
Looks maxing is the furthest extent that you could take self-improvement.
Looks maxing, EJ. It's when you maximize the way you look because looks are more important than anything, which of course Scripture teaches us.
Yes, in the Holy Bible.
In the King James Holy Bible, you're reminded that your cheekbones matter more than anything. That you'll be bringing your cheekbones to heaven. He says it's not that the criticism is invalid. So it's sort of by the end he starts to acknowledge. He's like, yeah, Rex Viper is kind of corny, and maybe Screamwave did kind of drop the ball, but still, like, everything you're saying is mean.
I could give a fuck about Rex Viper. Rex Viper is kind of corny. Yes, I would say it's been rightly referred to as dad rock.
The quote was, they were expressing that James isn't shit as a person. I'm like, I don't think that. I think James is amazing.
Yeah, your criticism may be fair, but it's this mean-spirited, like, you're not as good as you used to be and you ain't shit as a person because of it sort of attitude.
I think he accomplished incredible things.
He like plays a clip from Rex Viper. He's like, oh, my kids said, have a good show, Daddy. And he's like, see?
Yeah, okay. Great. I'm a fan. I would say pride goes before the fall, too. There's a lot of pride going on in this video.
The fuck is the matter with you?
In summary, EJ, if you're lame if you critique anything, and you're a childless virgin who doesn't make movies, even when the polar opposite is true. He also, I don't know, I saw like a lot of videos of he's doing stuff with Sly Cooper. He's like flexing in the mirror at the gym alongside Sly Cooper.
What the fuck is that?
He makes content about Sly Cooper.
Like a nerd?
Let he who hasn't flexed in the mirror with Sly Cooper cast the first stone. He did make some movie. There's like a trailer for his film, which he assures us he worked very, 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 very hard on. This must be why he's kindred spirits with James. It's like they can't stop telling you about how hard they worked on this stuff. But the movie is called Rerouting, and it seems to be like a horror movie about an Uber driver. Kind of just that's the concept.
Who's the hottest Uber driver you've ever had?
I never went to Uber driver.
He's like into rap. He's like a local rapper.
The bitch was hot. Yeah, she was hot and she wanna make love nonstop. So the flop got rocked like a rocket. I had a dream the flop got...
Right. Like there should be joy in everything that you do fundamentally. And that's because that's what will sustain you. But also like figuring out a way to fit it into the day without stupidly cutting into your sleep to the point of like you're going to cause yourself a heart attack or something. You got to think about that as time goes on. And you can't function properly on 4 hours, 3 hours of sleep. You actually can't do the things that matter. So it's like figuring out your workflows, figuring out like, okay, well, who's my help and what relationships would, we've developed a very, very, like, despite the fact that we're Satanists.
We've got the devil in us.
always got the devil in them.
Who have done nothing but express negativity into this world. We've cultivated an extraordinarily positive community of collaborators and guests, and from Liam to Levi to Scotty to Jason. Like, it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's a great community of creators, really, and friends. I think amazingly positive for how much devil is in us.
He was like, and by the way, it is in the comments. By the way, that Bimmy stuff is totally gay. Well, wait a minute. Isn't using gay as a slur kind of showing the hater in you, Kevin? Lord Vader? Lord Vader? Isn't that what's going on? 'Cause apparently everything is Star Wars. Lord Vader. All right, that's enough.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll have an internet beef with an internet beefcake.
They found you amusing for a while.
I don't understand what's so hilarious about this.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.